So we'll settle in to get started. As I was saying, for some of you, I see who you are. I take you into my heart when you're here in class. And I know that for some of you, being here today is really important because of the life events that you are navigating. So I want to give you extra big kudos for making this dedication for yourself. So you can be the resilient version of you while you're here today. So let's sit for a few moments together, please. And we'll begin with the chanting and then a little bit of pranayama also. So please take a seat that you can be comfortable in for at least 10 or 12 minutes. And rest your hands in your lap. And as you check in with yourself, let your physical presence become more stable, more grounded, less anxious, less distracted. At the same time, invite your emotional self to have a little more space around whatever is occurring in your life, in your heart, in your body. And then also invite your mental self, the wise part of your mind, to have a kind of large vision, a vast perspective, to sense you're connected to us. You are connected to this tradition. We are connected to our ecology and to each other. So if there is this place where we get grounded, the place where we experience inner space or the warm welcome that we can provide for whatever is arising for us. And also this capacity we have for remembering the larger connection that we have in life. Invite your breath to encompass all three of these things. The place you get grounded, the inner space you can provide for yourself, the sense of connection that is more vast than just you. And you can bring your hands to your heart. And this morning, we're going to chant Asatoma Satgamaya. Let's begin. Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. You may bow your head to your heart. Release your hands out over your knees, particularly if you're sitting cross-legged. Take the hands out over the two knees. If you're sitting in Virasana, you can place the hands a little bit sideways on your lap so that there's a space between the rib cage and the upper arms. And we'll do bhastrika first. A reminder that your pace is your own, and so is your duration. So you're not causing yourself to feel breathless. Let's begin. Inhale through the nose, up to suspension. Exhale through both nostrils. Deeply relax the skin of your body, your mind, your senses, your heart, your solar plexus. We're going to repeat that, and there'll be 3 inhale suspensions this time. Let's begin. Inhale to suspension. Exhale through both nostrils. Inhale to suspension. Close the right, exhale left. Inhale to suspension. Close the left, exhale right. And deeply relax. Now we make a tiny straw opening of the lips, and we're going to inhale 8 short sips of inhale to make 1 complete inhale. We'll suspend at the top, and then we're going to exhale and blow out through the same tiny straw. We'll do this twice. Let's begin. Exhale. Relax. And then we're going to repeat. Let's begin. Exhale. Deeply relax. Let's use those two practices as our on-ramp to physical asana today, and I will come back to pranayama before class ends. There's a pranayama that we were exploring yesterday in the Tuesday 7 a.m. class, so we'll be checking into that. Let's come up to standing, please. I got my other camera ready. Let me just arrange that while I'm sitting here, see if I can get it. Okay, we'll go for that. So please rise up to stand. Just have to push something out of the way without running over a kitten. Just a moment. Watch your head. Watch out, watch out. Yeah, okay, there you go. Okay, so in this position, let's take a wide stance, and I want you to have the stance be wide, but you can also pivot. So you know that you can pivot both feet, but you have it's not so wide that that feels awkward. Okay. Also, if you know that you have shorter hamstrings, please get your blocks at the ready. And come down to prasarita padottasasana. Hi. Oh. So in this first prasarita, let's focus on that long exhale that we were just doing through the lips, like a little straw. So we'll inhale through the nose and let the body take its time on that inhale. Focus on the back hemisphere of your torso. And then exhale like you're blowing out through a tiny straw. It's a long, silent exhale. And focus on the tone that you make at the front hemisphere of the pelvis and deep low belly. Please do one more breath cycle like that. Notice also the quality of patience that is required for the long exhale. And make a commitment not to make yourself breathless, so that as you're exhaling, you're not making it last longer than you can sustain, but you're coming to completion within your stamina. And then raise your hands to your hips and please rise up to standing. Now we're gonna try to open the hip flexors a little bit on the front. So just first thing is, with your feet parallel and still facing forward, let the hips come forward in line with your toes. Right? Raise up through the sides of your torso, roll the shoulders back, but most of all, let the hips come forward, take the tailbone down. Breathe into the front hemisphere of the pelvis here. And then bring your hips back in line with your heels. So this line here, pivot to your right. So you can pivot by picking up the heels to turn. And now press the tailbone down and forward and come into your left hip flexor. Just see what's present there this morning. Lift the sides of the torso, raise up through your heart, but think more about the opening of the front of your left hip flexors rather than a kind of back bend in the lumbar spine. And then rotate to center. You can pivot on your heels and toes, rotate to the other side. Okay, so let the hips square off towards your left foot. Press down into your right heel and bring your right pelvis forward. So lift up at the top of the ilium, root down through your tailbone, squeeze the right butt muscle so this opening is purposeful. And breathing in and breathing out. Then pivot yourself to center. Reach back and interlace your fingers. Roll your shoulders back. Give a good strong squeeze of the shoulder blades towards the wall behind you. Now let the hips come forward in line with your toes again. And as you go up, up before back, but go up, up, and then roll your shoulders back. Open your heart, your collarbones, and your throat. Let's inhale through the nose, reaching up. And then exhale, blow out like the tiny cocktail straw and come forward and down. A long, smooth exhale. And then inhale through your nose, rise back up to your standing back bend. And exhale, blow out like a tiny straw. Keep the inner thighs and inner arches toned and present so your pelvis is stable over your legs. Once more, inhale, rise up, coming up into your back bend, open your chest and your heart and your throat. And exhale, blowing out. Rise up simply to stand. You pivot so that you're going to go to your right. And when you pivot, root your left heel. So you might feel your left calf muscle. Raise up through the hip bones on the front and find your left hip flexors. Reach back and clasp your hands. Okay, and again, as you inhale, roll up through the heart. Squeeze your shoulders back. Open your chest, your heart, and your throat. As you exhale, blow out like a tiny straw. Come forward at whatever amount your body can do at this time, given your hamstrings and your hips and legs and feet. Inhale, glide up, root into both heels, stabilize your hips left to right and front to back. And exhale to bow forward. Once more, inhale to rise. This might be a balance pose for some of you. That's a good thing to concentrate on. And exhale to bow forward. So keep your legs steady, hips steady. Without hyperextending your knees, bow over your right leg. And then rise up to your starting position. Release the clasp of your hands. Let's go to the other side. Pivot around to your left. Yep. Reach back and interlace your fingers. Consider changing the clasp of your hands by even 1 digit. And as you press back with your shoulders, root down through your tailbone. Rise up with your heart. Exhale like a little straw as you're blowing out. Inhale to glide up, which does mean root down to come up. Exhale, bow forward, blowing out like a tiny straw. Keep your legs grounded, your muscles stable, your mind focused. Inhale to rise. This is the last one. And exhale forward and slowly down. Inhale back up to your starting position. Relax your arms, rotate to center and step into mountain pose. Let your arms dangle. You may close the eyes if you like. And feel the echo of your efforts there. Yeah. So the practice of getting grounded, making space inside the heart for whatever life is asking us to be present to. And also having that wider antenna, which everything that we're connected to, and which is connected to us. Okay, let's step forward for surya namaskar. We can use blocks today. So the seal pose will be a little bit higher. So stepping forward over kittens. You join your hands together at your heart. Let's use the Ujjayi breath, please. So breathing in, hands down, wide and up. Then exhale, Ujjayi, chair pose. Inhale, rise up, vastness. Exhale, Uttanasana. These are familiar practices for you. It's like reciting a prayer that's familiar. Inhale, glide forward through your heart. Exhale, left toes back. Inhale, rise. Exhale, descend. Use the pace of your exhale. No sense of hurries. Inhale, downward dog pose. Exhale, plank pose. Step over 1 foot till the toes are pointed and inhale to seal pose. Exhale, cobra pose. Take the shoulders back and the heart forward. Inhale, press up to seal pose. Good. Exhale, plank pose. Inhale, downward facing dog pose. You exhale, left foot forward. Press down through your right toes. Inhale, rise up. You know this part of the prayer. Exhale, descend. Inhale, step forward, heart forward. And exhale to deeply bow towards your legs. Inhale to rise. And exhale, hands to the heart. This is a familiar prayer, so don't analyze, don't evaluate. It would be like poetry or prayer in motion. Let's take the right toes back first this time. Gliding up. Descending. Plank pose. Downward dog pose, excuse me. Plank pose. Point the other toes first this time and then transition to seal pose. Cobra pose, shoulders back, heart forward. Inhale, press up to seal pose. Exhale, plank. Inhale, downward facing dog pose. Right foot forward. Inhale, glide up. Exhale, descend. Inhale, step forward, heart forward. Exhale to bow towards your legs. Inhale, rise up. And hands to the heart. Invite yourselves to stand really still. And try to check in with the three realms, we can call it. That which is deeply grounded. The inner refuge or space in which you can welcome what is arising. And the sense of your own antenna connected to that which is vast. And please release both hands. And I'd like to work this afternoon with the pose called parsvakonasana. So let's put two blocks together to the right side of your mat. So one is flat and one is tall, something like this. And then take a wide stance on your mat. My student is most unimpressed. Turn your right foot directly to the right. In fact, let's put the foot and the block so that the blocks are really near to your ankle. So when you come down, it's like the blocks will be nearest to your shin right through here. And then step the left foot back, whatever distance is yours to step back with. And let's go heel to line up, please. Okay, clasp your hands behind the small of your back. Roll the shoulders back, please. It's also okay to hold a yoga strap instead of clasping the fingers. Okay, root down through your tailbone, lift up with the front of your hips. You may already feel your left hip flexors are alive. Bend your right knee and bring your torso to what would be your side angle, parsvakonasana, side angle pose. Okay, now keeping the right knee lined up with your third toe, you're going to lengthen the right inner thigh. To do that and tone your right outer butt, the outer hip, the back of your hamstring. Right, now roll the left shoulder back and pull your arms back towards the wall behind you. When you draw the arms back, I'm going to ask you it's not like you're countering that by pushing the hips forward. Draw the arms back, but keep your right hip strongly anchoring your tailbone towards your left heel. Yeah. Now place your head in line with your spine and see if you can rotate your gaze to your left with your chin not popping out away from the collarbone so much, but the chin kind of tracing the line of your collarbones. Now release your right hand down to the block. Make it the height that you need it to be. Mine's going to be one less than we had it. And then sweep your left arm up alongside your ear. So as you're sustaining the pose with the legs, lengthen your right inner thigh again. Tone your right outer butt, outer hip, outer hamstring. And as you keep your chin kind of in towards your collarbone, bend your left elbow and place the pinky finger at the base of your skull. Press your head gently back into the pinky finger. So your head now has a little bit of resistance for the rotation. And then inhale, lengthen your left arm. Gaze down towards your right knee. And then exhale, rise up to stand. Relax both arms, please. And let's make the feet parallel. And we'll go the other way. Okay, so the side angle pose, we're just exploring a couple of nuances in the pose. And of course, you might have differences left to right. You might have some discoveries. So keeping awareness that the discoveries are best made from a place of grounding. Whatever the discovery is, then you can have this sort of warm welcome for it. If we're not grounded when we have a discovery, we're more susceptible to the judge or the anxiety about the discovery. Reach back, interlace your fingers. Try changing the clasp of your hands by one digit. Roll the shoulders back. And then as you bend your left knee, check again that you're going to line your left knee up with the third toe of your left foot. Yeah. Tone the left outer hip. Yeah. And then bring the torso to a little angle here. You might call it your side angle. So that really from your back foot, your right heel, up through the crown of your skull, you're looking for a pretty smooth line through here. Roll the right shoulder back. You can float the arms back away from your torso. Now keeping your left leg really steady, start turning your gaze to your right so that you're keeping your chin a little bit close to your collarbone. You may not be able to turn your head that far. No one is judging you. We don't have a, what do you call that thing? A protractor. We don't have a protractor. Energize your left outer butt, outer hip, outer hamstring, your left outer heel, left inner arch, left inner thigh. And then release your left hand down to the blocks, and you might decide that you want them to be lower or taller. And sweep your right arm down, across your face, and up. And you can bend your right elbow and place the pinky side of your hand against the base of your skull. When you press your head back into your hand there, you're going to have a little bit of resistance, which can actually be kind of stabilizing for your head and your neck. Now keeping your left heel rooted, reach into your right heel and stretch your right arm long. Gaze down, so you're going to feel the right side of your neck as you gaze down. And then let's exhale, rise up. Relax both arms. Make your feet parallel. And return to prasarita where we started class. And when you're returning to prasarita, make the legs stable, but let the torso and your mind be in surrender mode. Okay, now let's take the fingertips and with support step down to kneeling. Take one block to kneel on in vajrasana, so a block like this. Rest your hands in your lap. And connect to that which helps you to be grounded right now. And that which helps you to have that internal space that can warmly welcome whatever is arising. And that which lets the antenna of the mind be connected to that which is vast. Okay, so there's a pranayama practice that I would like us to be able to do, and it leads to this inner quality or capacity for meditation. To bring us to that, I'm going to recommend that we take a little detour now and go towards first a supported shavasana that sets up the occipital ridge, and then we'll have shavasana, and then we'll see about this practice because I want you to have the most optimal experience of it. So this is a good time to reach for 2 blankets, and one of these blankets unfold, fold in half length to length. Second blanket, same thing. You unfold, fold it in half, length to length. Okay, now I do want you to have these 2 edges of the blanket stacked and firm. And that's important because that's where your occipital ridge is going to be. Now, a few moments ago, you reached up and you put the pinky finger side of the hand like this, the pinky finger side at the base of the skull. And at the base of the skull is the occipital ridge. Okay, so we're looking for that ridge to be at the edge of the blanket here. My student is not showing the appropriate position. I'm going to move my blanket so that I'll have room for my elbows. Okay, so what you're going to do is actually sit on the 2 blankets. And when you lie back so that your head is just at the edge of the blanket. And I'm going to ask you to really think about, okay, I can lengthen my neck to place it at the edge of the blanket right there, and just that little spot where your head feels like it's just about to tip backwards. Choose a spot like that where you know your head hasn't really tipped backwards all the way, and you have some traction for the neck and a little pressure at the occipital ridge. And then press gently down into your heels and draw your lumbar spine down towards the blanket. And that is going to facilitate a little nudging of your head to go slightly bit more off the back of the blanket. And you are at the occipital ridge, so if you were to move your head a little bit side to side, you might realize that there are some tender spots there, which is okay. Doesn't make you a bad person or a bad yogi, just makes you a person with tender spots. And let the head get very still. We're going to stay here for Just about 1 minute to let this reset process occur. Invite your head to get heavier while keeping the feet and your lumbar spine just gently involved. You're now keeping a sense of it's actually creating what we call a still point. So keeping a sense of that. I'm going to ask you to roll backwards until what you have is the spot between the upper part of your shoulder blades is at the edge of the blanket, and momentarily come down to Cactus Pose arms. And so the blanket is pretty high up between the two corners of the shoulder blades. If you were to make a dissection line, it would be at the top of the sternum. So the blanket is behind this top of the sternum and the two collarbones between the top of your shoulder blades. Press into your feet and gently activate your lower belly and your lumbar spine down towards the blanket. Turn your nose as far as it comfortably goes to your left. You may feel the right side of your neck stretching. And then roll your nose as far as it comfortably goes to your right. You may feel the left side of your neck stretching. And then roll your head back to center. And now scooch backwards until your upper back, right behind the heart, is at the edge of the two blankets. And you are again in Cactus Pose arms. Once more, make the feet gently active and press your lumbar spine down towards the blanket. And then you're gonna, if you have space for it, you can keep scooting backwards until you're off of the blankets entirely. If you don't have enough space, you can scoot, let's say, partway back and then pick up and scooch the blankets out of the way. Watching out for kittens. Please come into Shavasana. And let your body rest. So this is a really important resting time because we're going to sit up for pranayama, just a pranayama that it's going to connect you from the heart to the throat to the mind. So while you're resting in Shavasana, let your body integrate the practice you just committed to. Now, some of you might find that because of the places where the blanket provided some pressure, you could be clearing your sinuses right now, or the inner ear canals might feel more open. The back of the heart may feel a little bit more supported. Allow your physical body to get more and more still, more grounded. And the inner space of the heart, more welcoming. Let the physical stillness go even deeper. So no part of the physical body will be a drain or a distraction from your vitality, your heart, or your mind. Now keeping the inner body quiet, rest a few degrees more deeply for one more minute. And you can just very slightly deepen your breathing and gently wiggle your fingers and your toes. Roll to your side, please. And you can rise up to sitting. When you come up to sit, I'm going to ask you to sit up straight and tall and to place either one hand on the heart like this, or both hands where your thumbs can feel the sternum. You're going to feel the vibration right there. And then lift the heart gently in response to whatever presence you've placed here. Then lift the base of your skull. What we're going to do is we're going to sing Hari Om. The A, U, M, and silence are all equal portions of the sound, including the silence at the top. And the M sound goes with the lips inside. So you can watch me once and then you can sing with me. We'll do it 3 times. The silence is still a part of the exhale. And then there's an exhale pause where there's no exhale, no sound, no silence, just stillness. So it goes like this. Hari Om. Now I'll inhale again. Hari Om. Breathe in. Hari Om. Breathe in, last one. Hari Om. And relax so the breath just takes care of you for these moments. Might be a very shallow, imperceptible breath. And palms to the heart if they're not there now. Thank you very much, everyone. Namaste. So a tiny clarification on that in case it wasn't obvious or explicit. When you finish the M sound, you still have exhale. So then you're hearing the silence of vibration of the chant, but you're hearing the sound of the exhale departing. It reminds me of like when the whale is doing it's going off. Is this a whale? I hope I'm getting this right. Having a moment of amnesia. The creature who has a blowhole in the ocean. Okay. So here in the heart, Hari Om. The exhale sound, you still hear that until it becomes the silence. That's a clarification for that for next time in case anybody missed it. How are you feeling?